a line in the book where you talk about where we are with the pardon power today that's pretty arresting. And I'm going to read it. It says, as they wield the pen, presidents advance their ideological and personal agendas, shore up their electoral bases, inflict psychic wounds on their opponents, and wreak real injuries upon the rule of law. And that's kind of where we are today with the pardon power. I expect Donald Trump to issue many, many hundreds, if not thousands of pardons at the end of his term, kind of picking up on what Biden did to preclude investigations by the next administration into his administration, not to mention who knows how many hundreds or thousands of pardons he'll issue in the interim, because basically, as you've described, the president can just wield the pen and it happens. It's perfect. It's a perfect power for Trump because there's no intermediary. He can just bark the order and it happens. So, just talk about that. Is that where we are today? Is this now a feature of the American constitutional landscape?
It's certainly going to be a feature of this administration. And I think, it's going to be a feature of subsequent administrations as well. It's just far too tempting to be able to hand out goodies to your allies and friends and potential voters. But let's focus for a moment on Trump. I think you're right that the president likes to be able to exercise a power that Congress can't constrain and that the courts are unlikely to police, right? The courts may interpret a pardon more narrowly than the president wants. But the solution to that is just to issue another pardon. There have been cases out of the January 6 pardons where the administration wanted to read the pardon broadly. The courts refused to do so. And then the president just issued a broader pardon. So, the only way that the courts can constrain the executive is if the executive doesn't like the breadth of a pardon and the executive is trying to read it narrowly and the courts say you're wrong, right? That's the only way in which the president can lose. If the president wants a broader pardon to someone, the president can unilaterally do that. And so I think this is a very tempting tool for the president. He can see the advantages of it. You alluded to, the ideological sort of basis for some of these pardons. The president apparently loves to hear that the prosecutors who prosecuted someone were driven by politics or driven by, personal agendas of various sorts, because everyone, it seems, who's applying for a pardon is saying, I was railroaded by a corrupt prosecutor, right? Basically mirroring the language the president uses. And they just say this with, I assume without regard to whether the person, was corrupt and whether they were railroaded or not, right? I highly doubt that the system is working so poorly that people are being routinely prosecuted and found guilty on thin or flimsy evidence. But they're playing to the idea that the president feels that he was a victim of a process, and they're just using the same language. And that's kind of ideological. It's kind of biographical, but it's certainly ideological. It says there's something wrong with the system.